Hey guys, today I wanted to talk over my 2023 EDC flashlight of choice. Now last year I was using the Olight i3T EOS, which I have here. This is in the Desert Tan finish. I've used this a lot and I've had a couple. I've also got a black one here. But this particular Desert Tan model was my main carry for last year. We've just come into 2023 and I was wanting to sort of change things up. So over Christmas I did a bit of research. I was looking at getting a bit more power with regards to a small pocketable flashlight. So I was looking at the i5R, the rechargeable AA version of the i3T. And whilst researching I came across another flashlight, which I'll talk about in a moment, which I've used over Christmas and early into this new year, and intend to, unless something else as good or better comes along, will continue to carry throughout this year. Talking about the i3T first, this is a great little flashlight, but there's a few things I look for in a flashlight which this kind of lacks, I guess. It is great for its size and convenience. It's got a nice pocket clip, good quality two-way pocket clip. It has two settings. One thing I look for in a EDC flashlight is a low lumen moonlight mode. This one has two settings. It has a low beam of 5 lumens and a high of 180, which isn't actually that much. But it does fit great in the pocket. I use this more than any of my others. I got a Rovivon A1, but the pocket clip and the tail switch is always a big thing for me. Like, it's make or break with a lot of EDC flashlights. I like something I can grab quick and not have to feel around for a button to push or anything like that. So this for last year was my main carry. Now, since researching and looking at the i5R model, I ummed and ahed over it for a while and researched some other sort of equivalents, and I discovered this. This is the Acebeam Pokelit. I think I'm pronouncing that right, AA, or Pokelit. Not sure how you want to pronounce that. But it is a AA, these are AAAs. So it is a slight upgrade in size, if you can see this. But for that added size you get a lot more sort of functionality and power. This has 3 settings. It has a low of 5 lumens, the exact same amount of moonlight lumens as this one. It has a medium. This is 190 lumens, whereas the high on this is 180. And then if we step it up again, we go up to 550 lumens, which is a lot of power, and it'll run like this for 35 seconds before it drops down to 330 lumens, which it can run for about an hour. But the main reason I decided to go for this over the i5R, this is also rechargeable, I'll get into the batteries in a minute, is that it has a memory function. Unlike the i3T, you have to cycle through the 2 settings to get the one you wish to use, whereas this remembers the last setting that you're on, which for me is a complete game changer. So yeah, if I switch this on now, you'll see it's just gone back to that 550 lumens, which is exceptionally bright. Then you can cycle back through, so low, medium, high. And then if I was to switch it off for a few seconds, come back to it, it's on the setting that I was last on, which for me is great. I mostly use the medium, the 190 lumen setting as my sort of main light, I guess. But I do use the moonbeam a lot, the moonlight mode, so that is another important feature. I do use the high beam, usually for calling my cats in late at night, but I find I can shine it across the road and see so much of like the alleyways and the dark areas when I'm looking for my cat and stuff. It's really handy in that sense to have that high beam function, which you didn't have with the i3T. And for this slightly extra size, I just think the memory function is a real game changer. So this is why this has been my main EDC for the past sort of, I guess, 6 weeks, sort of leading up to Christmas, and we're coming up to the sort of end of January now. And I don't think it's going to change much over this year, to be honest. This will probably be my main carry unless maybe Olight come out with something. But Acebeam here have really found, I think, a gap in the market for having a feature on a small flashlight like this. I know some of the Olights, like the Baton 3 and the Warrior Mini 2, which I have here. Again, great flashlight. And I have the Baton 3 as well. These both have like a memory sort of function, but a lot of the smaller ones don't. So Acebeam have done something pretty cool there, and I'd like to think Olight will follow suit. I imagine they probably will at some point, because yeah, I've seen a few different YouTubers talking about this. Max Level EDC did a video on it, called it the Olight i5R killer, which I'm inclined to agree with. It's a really great light. So going into the lumens and their runtime, the low function, let's get it up here, the low function will run for up to 58 hours. Whether that's completely accurate, I've also read 53 hours on the low setting. Either way, you're getting a lot of time with that if you really need that low beam but a long time, run time. Very handy. And then the 190 lumen, this can run for apparently 2 hours and around 21 minutes apparently. And then we have the high. This runs, this is at 550 lumens, which it will drop down after 35 seconds to 330 lumens for a runtime of 1 hour. The beam distance for this particular torch or flashlight is 86 meters. It's got a really good throw on it, and it's submersible up to 2 meters with a IP68 rating, I believe. Then if we go into the rechargeable battery, let's put the information on there for you guys. So it is a Type C rechargeable ion battery, lithium ion, 920 milliamp hours and 14500. So yeah, really great rechargeable battery. Yeah, the other cool thing about these being AA is that you can put in, say this was to run out and you're like at a festival or somewhere camping for a long time. If you didn't have backup rechargeable ones of these or run out of your power banks or whatever, you can replace this with a AA alkaline or a NiMH or nickel metal hydride style battery, which is good to know. You can carry tons of those things and get them pretty much anywhere, so really handy to have that, unlike more of these kinds of rechargeable proprietary style Olight torches. They're great, but you do have to have the proprietary charger to keep them running, so that's a really handy feature. I never had any issues out in the rain with this, and as I said, you can submerge it up to 2 meters before you have any issues. Unlike some of the Olight stuff, which tends to have maybe a 1.5 meter drop, Acebeam on their website claim that this is good for maybe a meter falling. You might get lucky. Greater heights, depends I guess where it lands and stuff. But yeah, so that's a 1 meter drop distance. And then we have this two-way pocket clip, which is great, reversible, so easy to slip in the pocket, and you can also put it on the peak of your cap if you wish to sort of have a headlight. It's not too heavy. I mean, you can kind of do it with the likes of the Warrior Mini 2, but you definitely feel that when it's on top of your head much more than you do these smaller flashlights. Sorry, just looking at my notes. Yeah, it fits well in the hand. I wouldn't say this is great for self-defense because it doesn't really clear the hand. I've got pretty standard size men hands. It's not like your Warrior Mini 2 where you've got plenty of, knurling and it sticks out so much that you can actually use it in a self-defensive way. I guess you could if you held it sort of a bit further in. Not that you'll probably ever need to use that. Depends where you live, I guess. But you never know. It doesn't have a strobe feature, if we're talking about self-defense. That's one thing this doesn't have, but I have a Rovivon A1 on my car keys, so if I'm like walking through a dark car park at night, generally I've got that in my pocket as well, if I needed to use a strobe light. So that isn't really an issue for me. Could be a deal breaker for you guys though. Yeah, I think that just about covers everything. This is about $29.99 UK price on Amazon. I think it's about the same. The dollar and the pound at this time are about the same, so you pay probably $30 for this. All in all, a really, really great flashlight. I'd highly recommend it. Not meaning to sort of throw Olight under the bus. They make, some of my favourite torches or flashlights. But I really wanted to draw some attention to these guys because they're doing some great stuff, and I kind of hope Olight will take on board, the functionality of this for maybe future i5R models. It'd be cool to see. But yeah, hope you like this. Please feel free to like and subscribe, and hit the bell icon if you wish to have notifications for more of these videos. Thanks for the support.